Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to come on live here, discuss some of the thoughts that I had in our morning coaching sessions. And I get asked all the time by agents that, hey, what should I do in a market where I'm having hard time getting my offers accepted? I'm working with a bunch of buyers, and my offers are not accepted. And if I were just to be able to get offers accepted, I would be successful. I would reach my goal. And I try to keep agents I try to keep agents on track on their goals, right? And a lot of them just keep focusing on things that are not happening for them. So usually what I ask them is, what are you doing to get your offer accepted, right? And that factor, that what you need to do to get your offer accepted in this market, requires a lot of work that you put in before you get to the point of making an offer. One of the primary things that a lot of people in the market are not used to doing is consulting the buyer or the seller properly, right? So, of course, if you're on the seller side of the business, it's a no-brainer. You're getting your offer accepted left, right. You're getting offers all the time. But one of the things that I come across a lot in this market, especially in today's day and age, where people are on Zillow, watching, looking at houses on the market, and not wanting to consult agents, right? So there are a lot of agents in the market that are not consulting and educating their buyers ahead of time. So if you're a buyer in the market and you have an agent that it's that you're working with, but the agent really didn't spend the time to do the research on your home buying needs, on how the market would be for you, and what would be the strategy for you in the market, based on the need that you have, based on the timeline that you're working on. All those factors make a difference on what strategy and what type of offers you would be making. So in my team and in my coaching programs, that what I coach agents to do is to really do a discovery on the client, to find out what's their situation, what's their home buying goals, why are they looking to move, how long are they going to look to move for, what is the primary motivation behind moving, who's going to live with them, who's going to purchase the house with them, where are those people need to be, like if they have kids that needs to be in school, if they're working in a certain area. So doing a full discovery allows us to help our clients make the right decision by putting all the facts and figures in front of them, right? Yes, we all know markets competitive, and there's nothing we can do to change that. But what we can really do is really look at your situation. If you're a buyer and if you're an agent, what you can do is really look at your buyer situation and help them make the best decision. Because the market is competitive, most agents in the market are just focused on, oh, how do I make this aggressive offer, right? Or how do I get my buyers to agree to make the highest offer? Or how do I make my buyer agree to waive inspection contingencies or give appraisal guarantee? It's because you have just learned this new thing, and a lot of agents in the market are new. So you just learn these new terms, and you're thinking that as long as I get my buyers to agree to beat these terms, or agree to give the best terms in the offer, I'm going to get it. Guess what? You're not. For you to be able to actually have the advantage is to make sure that you do your consultation properly, and you did a full discovery on your clients properly, so that way you can have them make the best decision. Maybe the house that you are trying to be aggressive with them, uh, um, maybe the house that they think that they really love this house, and you want to be aggressive for them on the offers, but after the offer gets accepted, they figure out that that house is really not for them. And I'm seeing a lot of that happening in the market, with a lot of people, a lot of agents that are going out there being very, very aggressive as far as trying to help their buyers get under contract. And once they get under contract, very quickly they find out that house is not for them. It's only because they don't go through proper consultation. So my message for today, for those of you who are telling me, the market could be better, I could have crushed my goals because of the amount of buyers that I have. Focus on what you can control over what you cannot control. If you cannot control the inventory, you focusing on inventory not being there is not going to really help you. I would rather, if I was, in 2020, market was kind of aggressive, right? As aggressive. And that was the last year that I produced, that I participated in production. And one of the things that I did at the time was, instead of focusing on, sure, you can focus on trying to get listings, right? Guess what? Everyone who has been on the market, or who has been operating in the business for the last 20 to 30 years at a top level, is focusing on listings, and they're doing their best to get the inventory out. So I really didn't focus on listing. Yes, I had some campaigns running for me to get some listings on board, but what I really focused on is what I can control, is getting buyers. And I went out there, I spent money on lead generation, whatever way I know how to generate buyers. I doubled, tripled, quadrupled my effort to continue to increase buyers. What that helped me do was have 4 or 5 buyers per property in a certain area that I focus business on. So if you could get yourself to that level where you have multiple buyers per property, you get advantage over the listing agents, you get advantage over the inventory. So today's message I want to really share with you is, focus on what you can control over what you cannot control, and focus your energy and effort in doing the work ahead, up front, rather than at the last minute when you have to submit offers. So do the consultations properly, do proper discovery, educate your buyers on different terminology, with different terms of the offers, and let them know ahead of time, these are things you need to know now. So when we get ready, when we find the property, it might seem like you don't need it now, but when we find the property, you would have to be educated ahead of time on these things. And then tell them what the market is like, educate them on the market, share your experience of other buyers that you're dealing with, and share your experiences with them, for them to kind of get on board and understand that, hey, this is how we need to operate. So if you could take care of all of this, and also give them a roadmap, right? Once you do a proper discovery, in our consultation model, we give our buyers or sellers a roadmap, like, hey, these are the steps we're going to take. This is the process that we're going to go through for you to get into the house by this date, right? Or for you to get rid of, hand over the keys to your house to your buyer by this date. So when you do this roadmap, you set the right expectation for your buyers, and you're able to serve them properly. You're able to educate them and prepare them for what's to come. So you're not, juggling through a lot of things when it's time to make an offer. Your buyer's already educated. You're doing the comps, and you're taking action, rather than you're on a reaction mode. So if you do those things properly ahead of time, the consultation, when you're doing the consultation, the discovery, the market education, the roadmap, and setting the right expectations with the market. If you do this stuff properly, when it's time to make an offer, you shouldn't have to go all over the place, re-educate your buyer, and do all of that. That takes away a lot of frustration from the process. And I know there is a lot of frustration out there in the market. Wa alaikum assalam. I know there is a lot of frustration out there in the market for agents, especially who are representing buyers, right? You could get rid of a lot of this frustration if you could actually do this work, do the homework ahead of time, take action on things you can control, and not just, oh yeah, I got this buyer, I'm not so excited about it because I'm looking for listings, and then you're serving this buyer passively, and eventually you find out that their buyer is not prepared at all, right? They're thinking about renting, and they're thinking about, right, working with another agent, or they're thinking about lowballing on a property that is very, very hot on the market. Those are signs. If you're feeling those things, right, you're finding your buyer to start deciding to do something else, or work with someone else, or they're trying to lowball you on offers. And I come across a lot of those, like, agents reach out to me and ask me, like, hey, how do I tell my buyers that they can't lowball on offers? And my first question is, how did you do the consultation? Like, I go directly to my agents and ask them this direct question: what did you do on the consultation? How much education have you done? right? And it's always, those symptoms are always sign of the real problem, which is consultations are not done properly. So if you are seeing these symptoms in your business where the buyer is walking a different route and you're trying to struggle, or you're struggling to take them on the path that you want to take them, know that your consultation is not, you don't probably have a proper structure to it. You probably don't educate them properly. You're not walking them through the market, and you're not setting their roadmap. And usually with us, when we do the consultation, our outline, follow our outline, and we execute our consultation properly, that's not there. Now, I want to quickly share, okay, let's just say you did the consultation properly and you're still struggling to get your offers accepted. For those of you who are in this category, right? First of all, you have to do consultation properly. If you have not done the buyer education ahead of time, if you have not to set the roadmap for them, set that right expectation for them for the market, don't listen to this. Like, you can stop watching the video and go focus on your consultation and take action where you need to take action. Focus on where you need to improve rather than complain about what's not working for you. Now, those of you who do your consultation properly and you're confident that you educate your buyers ahead of time on the market, you set the right expectation, and you draw their roadmap for them in your consultation. Those of you who can listen to the rest of the video over the next 5 minutes that I'll share with you. And those of you who might not have a question after I share this with you, who might have a question or this doesn't solve your problem, reach out to me and I'll try to look into what you are struggling with and try to give you the advice that I can give you. But to get your offer accepted, right, you gotta focus. Just like you have to have the positive mindset, you have to have a strong mental conviction that you want to work hard to get your buyers accepted, because you have done the research and you have educated the buyer, you have set the right expectation, and your buyer is on board with you, right? If you are in this position, then you can do the rest of it, which is really look at if this house is really suitable for your buyer, right? It's not about just getting an offer accepted. It's not just about working on a buyer or getting a buyer, push a buyer into a house, right? Really look at, is this a suitable house for a buyer? And don't take a non-biased approach to this and see if this is a suitable house. And if it is a suitable house, when your buyer is interested in this house, first thing you need to do is build connection with the listing agent. I know some of my agents will be watching this and say, hey, why are you teaching the other agents in the market this stuff? Because I really care about making a contribution. So what you want to do is, first thing, build a connection with the listing agent. Call the listing agent as soon as possible. I talk to a lot of buyers, a lot of agents in the market who say that, hey, I'm doing everything required. And when I ask them, when did you call the listing, when they miss out on the deals, right? They come to me like, oh, I missed out on another deal. And I was following what you told me. I consulted my buyer, blah, 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 blah. I educated them, and we came up with a strong offer. And I said, when did you call the listing agent? Oh, I called the listing agent after making the offer. It's too late, right? What you need to do is call the listing agent as soon as you get in your car from the showing. When you are showing, what I do is, when we show houses, we assess the buyer, their body language, how they like the property, all of that during the showing. So when you are showing a house, you got to assess your buyer. How do they like this property? At the same time, from your discovery, from consultation, you have to match the buyer's need and the house. And if those things match, you need to have a conversation while you're at the house with your buyer, like, hey, this is a house that matches like 3 or 4 out of the top 5 things that you must have in a house. So this is pretty much, in this market, this is something rare to come about. So we should consider making an offer. And right away, when you get in the car, you need to call the listing agent. If you don't get a hold of them, call them 3 times. That's what I teach my agents. Call them 3 times in a row, because they are the listing agent. They have the responsibility to answer their phone calls. So you got to hold them accountable to that standard. Call them 3 times in a row. Leave them a text message and a voicemail. Don't tell them which property you're calling about, but tell them, hey, I'm calling you about one of your listing. I have a very interested buyer. I need to have a conversation, right? And in that conversation, you do let them know you have a buyer that's very interested in the property, and ask them if they have any activity going on, and what would be most important for the seller that you guys should be considering when you're making the offer. This helps a lot of times kind of clarify what is the seller expectation. Is the possession important to them? Is the price important to them? Is the inspection contingency important to them? Or if the appraisal guarantee is important to them? So you have to have this conversation before you even talk to your buyer about what's the offer, what type of offer you should be making. So once you have this conversation, you go to your buyer and you let them know whatever activity that's going on the property. So you can actually right away come up with the right offer, right? You know the seller's expectation talking to the listing agent. Now you can set that expectation with the buyer. The seller wants possession, seller wants this, seller wants that, and let's come up with an offer. Let's put together an offer that is going to give us a good chance. So when you operate this way, your buyer, even some of the buyers, I get it. Some of the buyers, even after you educate them, yeah, even some of the buyers, when you're educating them, right? You're out there educating the buyer, and then but when the buyer comes to the making the offer, they're completely operating on a different operating system, right? And most likely is because they're talking to someone else. So when you're consulting, before I set our consultations, we figure out like, hey, who else is going to be part of the decision making? Who else are you going to consult? You want to make those people bring those people into the consultation and kind of unbrainwash them too, because these people who your buyers is going to consult, whether it's the buyer's father or buyer's family member or cousin, they are going to become a hurdle for you when it comes to this aggressive market, especially if they bought a house like 5 years ago and now they think like that's how real estate works. You could negotiate 20, 30, 40,000 down on any market. So when you learn the seller expectation and learn the activity, you come to the buyer, you set the expectation, you let them know what's going on with the property so you can come up with a good offer. Now, when you're coming up with the offer, I know most of you, those of you who are doing comms, right? Great job. You do comms when you make offer and you let your buyer know, hey, based on the last 6 months, compared to this property, that these other 3 properties that sold on the market, they sold for this price, so we should make that offer. Now I'm going to give a secret, and some of my agents will probably hate me for it, is that we don't do comps based on last 6 months and decide on offer based on last 6 months comps in this market. And if you do this, you're going to get every single offer accepted. Okay, I'm just giving you a heads up. In this market, what you need to do is you need to calculate what was the property appreciation based on last 6 months comp, and you need to come up with a number for the next 6 months comp. Okay, this property will be valued at based on the appreciation percentage. We will value it this much in the next 6 months and increase 5% on top of next 6 months comp. I know it was a lot of information I just threw out there. If you don't catch it, just rewind it, watch it again. Is that you set the next 6 months comp. So what is the projection of this property value in the next 6 months? And you increase the price by 5% for the offer that you would make. And that would get you your offer accepted every single time. Yes, your buyer is overpaying on the property, but that's because this house is really what they want, right? It matches their criteria. And that's why I gave you this all preface to this until I brought you here. And now that you know what you need to do, just to educate your buyer, let them know like, hey, even if we offer 5% above the next 6 months projected price, know that in the next 6 months, we are not seeing a drastic, even in the next 2-3 years, we're not seeing a drastic change in the market. This price will continue to go up. Even in like by the time it's August or September, by the end of this season, you will see you're already at that. Even if you get your offer accepted by doing this 5% over the next 6 months projection, even if you do that by the end of the season, you will see you already make up the equity gap. And that's something we have been doing to get every single offer accepted. If you want every single offer accepted, you have to have a good relationship with the listing agent. So once you do this, you come up with an offer, you're about to write an offer, call the listing agent again, get a hold of them. Call them 3 times, the same process, okay? Leave them a message like, hey, I'm writing an offer on your property. Don't give them the property address. I know it works because we have been doing it for a long time. Don't give them the property address, which property you're calling about, because that creates a curiosity. Curiosity always kills the cat, right? So you want to let the listing agent reach out to you, and you can get a hold of them by doing these things. But once you get a hold of them, you got to let them know that, hey, I'm writing the offer. yeah, I just spoke to you a little bit earlier. You told me this was your seller's expectation, and I was able to get my buyer to agree to do this. Give the offer verbally and ask for feedback. What do you think about this offer? Do you think this is an offer that would attract your seller? Is there something we need to change? Ask them for their feedback before you write the offer. Ask them, what can I do right now to make my offer better? Do you think this is something that you can present to your seller and they would accept, right? And then you, based on the feedback, maybe you might need to go back to the seller if they give you a feedback like, no, this is not something my buyer seller will take. But if they, give you a good positive feedback, you write up the offer, you send the offers. Again, call the listing agent 2-3 times if you have to get a hold of them, and let them know the offer is waiting in your email. I just sent it out. Let me know when should we expect a response, and try to get a time that you can expect a response for. Just let them know, like, hey, my buyer's really excited about this offer, and they're actively looking. I don't want to waste my time or their time showing them more houses, but I would appreciate it if you could just let me know when we should expect a response from the seller, right? And if they give you a deadline, just wait for that. Don't just keep bothering them, right? And if they say, no, we don't know, we don't have a deadline, I don't know when will you be able to do it, keep following up with them every 3 hours. And then that would really build a strong rapport and strong impression of you with the listing agent, and he will see that you really care about this deal and you really want to take care of your clients and you really want to get this deal done. And that is what allows us to get every single offer accepted in this market. Again, there is a lot more factors that goes into it. I would really have to go look into your business and advise you on your business, on the type of clients you're working with, on the market that you are in, and what you are doing when you're submitting an offer, right? I would have to look into all those to kind of give you like a crafted advice. But other than that, if you just follow this thing, like those of you who are just joining in, like if you rewind this video after I end the live, what I shared is that what do we do to get every single one of our offer accepted in this market? What do we do to make sure that we stay on top of mind for listing agents to get our buyer's offer accepted? And how do we build a good rapport with listing agent? And how do we craft the best offer for our buyers by consulting them ahead? Thank you guys again for listening in, and I'm